So, one afternoon, I'm out playing golf with my wife at the local country club. We're on the first tee, and she crushes this 300-yard shot down the fairway like a pro. I'm stunned. I've never seen her play this well before. I go, "Holy shit, I've never seen you hit it like that." She just smiles and says, "Well, I took lessons." A couple of days later, we're on the tennis court for mixed doubles, and this time she's smacking every serve and never misses a point. I'm watching just gobsmacked. I go, "Holy hell, I've never seen you play like that." She grins and says, "Well, I took lessons." That night we're home, and she brings out these perfect plates of beef Wellington and baked Alaska for dessert. I'm sitting there just staring at this meal like it's a goddamn Michelin star restaurant. I say, "Holy shit, I've never seen you cook like this before." She just gives that same grin and says, "Well, I took lessons." So after dinner, she gives me that look, the "come upstairs and let's get to it" look. So we head upstairs, and about 30 minutes later, I'm lying there thinking, "Damn, that was incredible." She looks at me with a satisfied smile. I roll over and say, "Holy hell, that was amazing. I've never seen you move like that." I pause for a second, and before my wife can speak, I add, "I want a divorce."
The teacher gives her class this assignment. Go home and ask your parents for a family story with a moral at the end. Come back tomorrow and share it with the class. The next day, Joe goes first. My dad's a farmer. One day, we were driving to the market with a basket of eggs on the front seat. We hit a bump and the basket fell. All the eggs broke. The moral? The teacher asks. Joe says, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket." "Very good," says the teacher, nodding. Next, it's Mary. "We're farmers too, and we had 20 eggs waiting to hatch, but only 10 hatched into chicks." "The moral?" the teacher asks again. Mary says, "Don't count your chickens before they're hatched." "Very good," says the teacher. Finally, it's little Johnny's turn. He stands up and says, "My dad told me a story about my Aunt Karen. She was a flight engineer during the war. Her plane got hit, and she had to bail out over enemy territory. All she had was a bottle of whiskey, a machine gun, and a machete." The teacher's like, go on. "Aunt Karen downed the whiskey on the way down, then landed in the middle of 100 enemy soldiers. She shot 70 of them with the machine gun until it was empty. Then she hacked 20 more with the machete until it snapped. And finally, she killed the last 10 with her bare hands." The teacher, horrified, asks, "What did your father say was the moral of that?" Johnny says, "Don't fuck with Aunt Karen when she's had a few shots."
First day on the job installing telephone poles, and my boss is already riding me like a rented mule. 3 poles? He scoffs, squinting at my work. Pathetic. That guy over there does 15. I wipe the sweat off my brow, eyeing the new hire, some wiry kid with a smirk, jabbing poles into the dirt like he's spearfishing in quicksand, half of them tilting like drunk scarecrows. 15, I mutter. "Boss, that ain't installing." I kick one of the kid's poles. It wobbles, barely buried. "That's just leaving them." Boss don't care. 10 a day by Friday, or you're fired. By Thursday, I'm digging holes like a gopher on meth. Hands blistered, back screaming. Still only 6 poles. Boss storms over, face redder than a baboon's ass. "Look at him. 15. You're useless." I nod at the kids. "Work." "Yeah, boss, but ask yourself, how much of that 15's still in the ground?"
I've been driving trains my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, it was my dream. I'd push it to the limit every chance I got, and yeah, maybe I got a little reckless. One day, I crashed the damn thing, killed one person. So, I end up in court, and guess what? They sentenced me to death by electrocution. I request a banana for my last meal because who needs a big fancy meal before you die, right? Just something simple. I eat the banana, get strapped into the chair, and they pull the switch. Sparks fly, smoke fills the air, but I'm still sitting there, perfectly fine, no shock. Turns out, there was this old law in Bulgaria where a failed execution meant divine intervention. So they let me go free. And you know what I did? I went right back to my damn train, driving like I never learned a thing. Sure enough, I crash another one and kill 2 people. Trial, execution, same damn thing. This time I request 2 bananas. Eat them, get strapped in again. Switch is pulled. Same result, nothing happens. They let me go. And Yep, you guessed it. I'm back on the train, speeding again. This time, I kill 3 people. Another trial, another execution, but this time, they've had enough. I asked for 3 bananas for my last meal, and the executioner, pissed off now, says, "You're not getting a damn thing this time. No bananas, no meal. We're doing this now." They strap me in without any food, pull the switch, and nothing. Still no shock. Executioner's standing there, dumbfounded. I look him right in the eye and say, "It's not the bananas, you idiot. I'm just a bad conductor."
So, there I was at McGinney's last night, nursing a lukewarm beer and pretending to care about the baseball game on TV when Patty stumbles through the door. Her hair's a mess, her mascara's halfway down her cheeks. I slide over on the stool and she collapses next to me, reeking of tequila and poor life choices. The bartender, Old Joe, slides her a water without even asking. Smart man. Patty gulps it down, then slams the glass on the counter. "Todd," she says, "you'll never guess how responsible I was last night." "Let me guess. You left your car here again?" She nods, way too proud of herself. "Took the bus instead. Genius, right? Safety first?" Now, I'm no detective, but Patty doesn't strike me as the bus type. Last I checked, she thinks public transportation is just Uber for poor people. "Where'd you even find a bus around here?" I ask. "The last one stopped running at 10 p.m. She shrugs. "Honestly? Blacked out after the 3rd tequila. Woke up in my driveway with my keys in my purse. No clue how I got there. But get this, I passed a cop checkpoint. They were breathalyzing every dude on the road. Dodged a bullet, right?" I stare at her. "Patty, buses don't get pulled over for DUIs. She freezes. "Well, Todd, I've never driven a bus before."
So my grandpa and I are sitting on the bus, heading downtown to catch a movie. This punk girl gets on, looking like a walking disaster. Her hair's got every color under the sun, green, purple, orange, basically a traffic cone on crack. She's got holes in her clothes, and I'm pretty sure her legs haven't seen a pair of pants in years. She sits down right across from us, and I swear she's staring at us like we're the weirdos. Finally, she growls, "What the hell are you staring at, you old fart? You ever do anything wild when you were young?" I look at Grandpa, who's just quietly watching her, and then he grins like he's about to drop a bomb. "Yeah, back when I was in the Navy, I got drunk as hell in Singapore and slept with a parrot. Thought maybe you were my daughter."
There I am, washed up on some godforsaken island after my ship went down, sand in places I didn't even know I had, and my throat raw from salt water and panic. I'm barely on my feet when I spot them. A pack of warriors sprinting toward me, faces painted like nightmares, spears glinting in the sun. My legs turn to jelly. This is it, I think. Survive the ocean just to get skewered by a dude named Throws Rocks Good. Then boom! The sky itself starts talking deep and thunderous. "Bill, you're not done!" I'm too stunned to argue. The voice barks again. "Grab the spear from the warrior next to you. Ram it through the chief's heart. Now!" Adrenaline kicks in. I yank the spear from the closest guy who's too confused to fight back and lunge at the chief like my life depends on it, because you know it does. The chief drops and suddenly, the whole tribe's staring at me like I just canceled Netflix. Breath heaving, I look up at the clouds. "Okay, now what?" "Now," the voice rumbles, "you're done for."
I'm this big-time lawyer, right? And I'm representing the railroad in this lawsuit where this old rancher is claiming that his prize bull disappeared after we ran a train through his land. I don't give a damn about the bull, but it's my job to shut this guy down. The rancher's asking for a pretty decent chunk of change, but I know there's no way he's getting it. We're in this small town, courthouse in the square. This old bastard's all slow and country, while I'm in my shiny suit ready to crush him. I pull him aside and start talking about settling out of court. You know, the usual tricks. The guy's stubborn, but I talk him into taking half of what he's asking for. He's just desperate to get it over with, so he signs the release and takes my check. As soon as the deal's done, I can't help myself. I walk up to him, grinning, and say, "You know, you're a real country bumpkin, aren't you? You thought you were gonna win?" That train was running without any witnesses. The engineer was napping, and the fireman was in the caboose jerking off. Hell, I had no witnesses, no evidence. I just bluffed you, old man. I watch him, waiting for that look of defeat, but he just stares at me, and then he says, "Well, you might have been bluffing, but I was worried too, because my damn bull came home this morning."
My dad's a psychiatrist, and let me tell you, his patients are the reason I never get bored. One time, this guy storms into his office, hair like a bird's nest, shirt buttoned wrong, and socks that didn't match. Dad, cool as ever, waves him to the couch. Take a seat, let's start with what's troubling you. The guy slumps down, hands shaking. Doc, it's my wife. Every night, every damn night, she goes to Larry's bar, flirts, drinks, then drags some random guy home. Last week, it was a taxidermist who smelled like mothballs. The week before, a yoga instructor who kept chanting during, And last night, she brought home a guy named Clive who literally had a parrot on his shoulder. Dad nods, scribbling notes, like he's solving a crossword. I see. How does this make you feel? How do I feel? The guy's voice cracks. I've tried everything. I followed her in a fake mustache. She complimented the mustache. I even showed up at Larry's bar, dressed as a cowboy. She applauded and bought me a shot. Dad steeples his fingers, the picture of professionalism. This sounds challenging. Let's focus on grounding techniques. Breathe in. I've tried breathing. I've tried kale smoothies. I even did a vision board. It just had pictures of Larry's bar and a divorce lawyer. Dad pauses, then leans forward. Now, tell me, where is Larry's bar?
It's Saturday afternoon, and I've just finished scrubbing lasagna pans while my husband Dave sits at the kitchen table scrolling through his phone. We finish lunch, and like clockwork, he shuffles to the couch, his holy shrine to laziness, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. I glance out the window, and oh my God, the lawn's gone full Jumanji, dandelions tall enough to hide a toddler. Dave, I say, the lawn. Now. He's already horizontal and says, 20 minutes, Heather, I'll do it after my nap. 20 minutes. That's code for I'll wake up at sunset, squint at the yard and say, can't mow in the dark, babe. I march over, blocking the TV. Mow the lawn. He groans, kicking off his shoes. I'm tired. Had a long week. You're tired? I spent Tuesday unclogging the disposal after your experimental smoothie. He's unfazed, glasses tossed on the coffee table, snoring in 3, 2, fine. Time for plan B. I perch on the armrest. You know, honey, without your glasses, you look just like the guy I married, all rugged and mysterious. His eyelids flutter. Got him. Rugged, huh? He smirks, eyes still closed. Well, Heather, without my glasses, you still look pretty good too.
One day I meet this beautiful girl named Emma across the street. I rush home practically bursting with excitement. Dad, I met this amazing girl, Emma. She lives just across the street. Dad looks at me, dead serious, and says, son, Emma's your sister. I'm in shock, but he goes on. I had a fling with the neighbor before I married your mom. Devastated, I cut off all contact with her. A month later, I meet Sophie. Same story, same outcome. Dad says she's my sister too. I'm done. 3 months later, I meet Brooke, the hottest girl ever. I rush home, praying she's not related. Dad, I met this girl, Brooke. Is she your daughter? He winces. Of course, she's my sister too. I storm off, and later, Mom sits down next to me. What's wrong, honey? She asks. I tell her, I've met 3 girls, and every time Dad says they're my sisters. She laughs. I'm confused. Why are you laughing? She smiles and says, oh, don't worry, honey. You can date any of those girls. I look at her horrified. Why would I want to date one of Dad's daughters? She grins. Because, sweetheart, he's not actually your father.
I was a farmer, right? Grew the best watermelons around. But for some reason, these little shitheads, local kids, kept sneaking into my patch at night and chomping down on my precious melons. So I thought, all right, time to teach these little bastards a lesson. I made a sign, big bold letters. Warning, one of these watermelons has been injected with cyanide. The next night, I watched from my window as they snuck in, all sneaky and stupid. They saw the sign and freaked out, running off like scared little rabbits. I thought, ha, that'll teach them. But when I went to check my melons the next morning, I saw something on my sign. They'd put up their own right next to it. It said, now there are 2.
It was a Tuesday, the kind of humid New York afternoon where even the pigeons looked miserable. Dad was in his office doing what he always did, yelling at someone on speakerphone while pretending to understand modern art. That's when his lawyer Goldstein calls. Now, when Goldstein says, I've got good news and bad news, it usually means someone's about to lose their yacht or their freedom. Dad's been through 3 wives and 2 indictments. He knows the drill. Just give me the good first. Goldstein takes a dramatic pause. Your current wife just dropped $5 grand on 2 photographs. Dad's already bored. So, Conservative estimate? They'll fetch 15, maybe 20 million. Suddenly, Dad opened his eyes. That's my girl. Always said she had an eye for value. He's practically doing mental math on alimony savings. All right, hit me with the bad news. Goldstein clears his throat. The pictures are of you and your secretary in the supply closet.
My coworker Tom, the guy's a walking snooze button. Every single morning, I'd clock in, sip my coffee, and watch him stumble into the office like a zombie who forgot where brains were sold. One day, our boss corners him. Tom, next time you're late, you're gone. Tom panics. Starts Googling how to wake up before the sun like it's rocket science. Finally, he drags himself to some doctor who hands him a magic pill. Take this before bed, the doc says. That night, Tom pops the pill and, miracle, he sleeps like a coma patient. Wakes up at 6 a.m., fresh as a Target mannequin, brushes his teeth, makes avocado toast, and struts into work early. Boss is stunned. Tom, you're here? On time? Tom puffs out his chest like he's cured world hunger. Doc's pill worked, slept like a baby. Boss nods, then squints at his calendar. But Tom, where were you yesterday?
So I'm sitting in church confessing my sins like a good boy. The priest asks me, "What's troubling you, Michael?" I say, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I've been with a loose girl." The priest raises an eyebrow. "Is that you, Michael?" "Yeah, Father, it's me." "And who was the girl?" he asked, already narrowing his eyes. I don't want to ruin her, so I lie. He presses on. "Was it Patricia Williams?" "No, Father." "Lisa Davis, then?" "Not her either." "Kathy Odell?" "Can't say, Father." "Brenda Jones?" "Father, I can't tell you." "All right, Michael. I respect your loyalty, but you've sinned. You can't be an altar boy anymore for 4 months." I nod, head back to my pew, feeling like I'm in trouble. Johnny slides up to me and whispers, "So what'd you get?" I can't help but grin. 4 months off and 4 solid leads.